Salem faithful, if you were parked front of rain on Thursday like it was, coffee in one hand and tissues in the way, cow peaches in the other, you know exactly why my heart is still in pieces today. The final on-screen appearance of Alice Halsey as Etches and Epislack aired. It was the closing chapter on one of the most unforgettable, jaw-dropping, heart-wrenching performances a young actress has ever delivered in the long, twisty history of Days of Our Lives. For almost a full year, this 11-year-old powerhouse stepped into the shoes of Brady and Kristen's daughter and turned the entire town upside down in the most deliciously deranged way possible.
She debuted on April 24, 2025, arriving in Salem with those wide, innocent eyes, and that sugary-sweet smile that could melt the coldest DiMera heart. We all bought it at first. How could we not? She looked like the perfect little girl who'd finally come home after all the chaos her parents had put her through over the years. But oh, how quickly that facade cracked, revealing the lovable little whirlwind of chaos underneath crazy yet utterly captivating Rachel, who terrorized Salem while still making us root for her every single time. Let me take you back, because if you're a true Days diehard like me, you remember the exact moment she walked into that Brady family living room. It was one of those classic Salem entrances, sunlight streaming through the windows, Brady looking up with that hopeful dead smile, Kristen hovering in the background with her signature mix of maternal love and barely contained mania. Rachel played to perfection by Alice skipped and clutching a stuffed bear, all pigtails and politeness. "Daddy, Mommy, I missed you so much," she chirped. And half the audience probably cooed out loud. But those of us who've watched this show for decades knew better. We'd seen the previews. We'd heard the whispers. This wasn't just a reunion. This was the start of something darker, something deliciously unhinged, something only a soap like Days could pull off with a child actress who hadn't even hit her teens yet. For the next 11 months, 56 episodes of pure and filtered drama, Alice Halsey didn't just play Rachel Isabella Black. She owned her. She weaponized her. She made us fall in love with a character who, on paper, should have been impossible to root for. Because behind that sweet, kind, innocent act was a deranged little mastermind who terrorized the town in ways that had us gasping at the television. She pretended to be the perfect daughter, baking cookies with Marlena, doing homework at the pub with Roman, even helping out at the hospital with Kayla. But in private, the mask slipped, and we saw the real Rochelle, the one who'd inherited every ounce of her mother's scheming DNA and her father's stubborn fire. She'd whisper threats into her teddy bear when no one was looking. She'd accidentally overhear secrets during family dinners and then twist them into weapons that pitted cousin against cousin, Black against DiMera, hero against villain. Remember the arc that started around last summer? The one where Rachel decided she didn't want to share her parents' attention with anyone else. She started small little white lies about Aunt Belle's new relationship, planting doubts in Brady's mind about Kristen's loyalty. But it escalated fast. There was that chilling tea party scene where she invited Tate and Holly over, all giggles and games on the surface. But the way she accidentally spilled the hot water near Tate's hand while smiling that angelic smile. Chills. Pure chills. And then came the bigger stuff, the fake kidnapping scare she orchestrated just to get Brady and Kristen back under the same roof. She played the terrified little girl so convincingly that even DiMera fell for it at first, offering protection and alliances that backfired spectacularly. We watched her sneak into the DiMera mansion at night, rifling through drawers for incriminating papers, all while humming lullabies to keep up the innocent act. It was masterful, terrifying, and somehow still lovable, because Alice infused every moment with this vulnerable little spark, this hint that deep down, Rachel was just a kid who'd been through too much trauma, too many baby switches, too many custody battles, and was lashing out the only way she knew how. By fall, the storylines had ramped up to full-blown soap opera insanity, and Alice handled every beat like a seasoned pro. There was the hospital gala episode where she helped by passing out hors d'oeuvres. But really she was slipping notes into pockets that exposed long-buried family secrets, notes that nearly tore the Kyriakis empire apart. She'd bet her eyelashes at Maggie, call her Grandma Mags in that syrupy voice, then turn her own and manipulate Victor's old will documents she'd somehow gotten her hands on. And don't even get me started on the winter cliffhanger where her deranged side fully emerged in a confrontation with Kristen. Alone in the penthouse, Rachel dropped the act completely, eyes blazing, voice shaking with rage as she accused her mother of every abandonment she'd ever felt. "You always choose the wrong people, Mommy," she hissed, And for a split second, we saw the killer instinct, same one that had led to that accidental car sabotage attempt on one of Brady's rivals. But then, just as quickly, she'd flip back to the sweet girl, hugging Kristen tight and whispering, "I love you more than anything." It was whiplash in the best possible way. Alice made us feel every conflicting emotion right alongside the character. We hated what Rachel was doing. We loved her for doing it so brilliantly. That's the magic of Days of Our Lives at its peak, and this kid nailed it. Now, I've been watching this show since I was barely older than Alice is now, back when Marlena was possessed, when the Salem stalker was on the loose, when baby switches were just starting to become the norm. I've seen child actors come and go. Some are cute, some are competent, very few are unforgettable. Alice Halsey, she's in that rare, legendary tier. At only 11 years old, she tackled material that would make adult Emmy winners sweat. Playing DOOL layer sweet, innocent, kind on the outside, calculating, vengeful, borderline deranged on the inside. Ice no small feat for anyone, let alone a preteen who still has homework and playgrounds waiting at home. She had to balance those scenes where Rachel was skipping rope with Claire's kids 1 minute, then lurking in shadows plotting her next move the next. The emotional range she displayed in that final March 5th episode alone, devastating. We watched her say goodbye in a way that felt both final and open-ended, hugging Brady one last time with tears streaming down her face, whispering, "I'll always be your little girl, Daddy," while the camera caught that tiny, almost imperceptible glint in her eye that hinted the chaos wasn't entirely over. It was the perfect send-off. Poignant, heartbreaking, and it left every fan I know in a puddle of emotions. Which is why it's so damn regrettable that Alice Halsey is no longer in the role. She left a lasting impression on the entire Days of Our Lives family cast, crew, and especially us fans who've been tuning in week after week, episode after episode, cheering her on even when she was at her most unhinged. Salem feels a little emptier without her skipping through the square, a little less electric without the constant threat of what scheme little Rachel might cook up next. Her portrayal breathed fresh, terrifying life into a character who could have easily been just another cute kid in the background. Instead, she made Rachel Isabella Black a force to be reckoned with, a crazy yet lovable tornado that reminded us why we fell in love with this show in the first place. The way she mirrored her parents' flaws while still fighting for their love. Genius. The subtle nods to the character's traumatic history, baby switch that defined her early years, the back-and-forth custody wars, the constant threat of losing one parent or the third, all came through in every glance, every line delivery. Alice didn't just act the part. She lived it. And now she's gone. But here's the thing about Days of Our Lives, the show must go on. The role of Rachel Isabella Black isn't disappearing. Another actress will soon be taking it on, stepping into those complicated shoes and carrying forward the legacy of Brady and Kristen's daughter. We don't have a name yet. We don't have a release date. The producers are keeping it under wraps, the way they always do with these big recasts, letting the speculation build and the anticipation simmer. It's classic soap opera strategy: keep the fans guessing, keep the buzz alive. And buzz there is. My inbox, my social media feeds, the forums I've been part of since the dial-up days are all exploding with one question above all others: who's next? And today, I'm wondering the same thing every longtime viewer is wondering. Who do you think would replace Alice Halsey as Rachel? Because let's be honest, this isn't just any recast. This is Rochelle, the girl who's been at the center of more family drama than half the adult characters combined. The new actress has massive boots to fill. She has to capture that same duality, the lovable little girl who makes you want to protect her, mixed with the crazy edge that makes you fear what she'll do next. It's a tightrope walk, and not every young talent can handle it without it feeling forced or cartoonish. But there's one name that keeps popping up in every discussion I've seen, one possibility that has fans like me practically vibrating with excitement. What if Stay With Me her the role goes back to Finley Rose Slater? Finley played Rachel before Alice, holding the part from 2021 through early 2025, and she brought something special to the character during those formative years. She aged Rachel up just enough to let the mischief shine through, turning her from a toddler prop into a real player in the family wars. Remember Finley's Rachel sneaking into the DiMera tunnels, wide-eyed but determined? Or the way she'd cling to Brady after every Kristen meltdown, her little voice cracking with genuine emotion. She had this effortless chemistry with the entire cast: Eric Martsolf, Stacey Haydock, all of them. It felt real. It felt lived in. And now, with a couple more years under her belt, Finley could come back and pick up right where Alice left off, evolving Rachel into the next phase of her chaotic journey. Imagine it, Finley returning, older, wiser in that kid way, but still carrying all the baggage from Alice's reign of subtle terror. The continuity would be seamless. The fans would lose their minds in the best way. Of course, there are other possibilities floating around the fan communities. Dees has a history of finding incredible young talent, and the casting directors have an eye for it. Maybe they'll go with a complete unknown, some fresh face who can bring an entirely new energy to the role. Or perhaps they'll look to other young actresses who've proven themselves on other soaps or family dramas, some Maoni who can handle the heavy emotional lifts while still nailing the sweet but secretly scheming vibe. But none of those options feel as right as Finley coming home. She knows the character inside and out. She knows the sets, the rhythms of Salem, the way Brady's hugs feel protective and Kristen's kisses feel like they come with strings attached. Bringing her back would be more than a recast. It would be a full circle moment, the kind Days does so brilliantly. It would honor Alice's incredible run while giving Finley the chance to take Rachel to even darker, more dramatic place, maybe exploring the long-term effects of all that pretending, all that hidden rage. What if the new Rachel starts therapy with Marlena, only for the sessions to uncover deeper layers of the deranged side? What if she teams up with a new villain in town, using her innocent act to infiltrate the Horton family once and for all? The possibilities are endless, and they get me hyped just thinking about them. Let's talk about the bigger picture for a second, because this recast isn't happening in a vacuum. Rachel Isabella Black has been through the ringer since day one, literally born into drama thanks to that infamous baby switch that kicked off one of the wildest Kristen arcs in show history. We've watched her grow up on screen through multiple actresses, each adding their own flavor. The very first portrayals were all about the innocence lost to parental wars. Then Finley came in and added the spark of rebellion. Alice took it further, turning that spark into a full-blown fire. Whoever comes next has to respect that evolution. They have to understand that Rachel isn't just Brady and Kristen's kid. She's a symbol of everything that makes days tick: love that destroys, secrets that explode, families that fracture and reform in the most unexpected ways. A bad recast could derail storylines for months. A great one, like I'm betting Finley would be, could launch Rachel into her teen years with the kind of fireworks we haven't seen since Sammy Brady was running around town causing havoc. And the fans? We're not just spectators. We're invested. I've seen the posts pouring in since that March 5th episode aired, people sharing clips of Alice's best moments, rewatching her debut, theorizing about what the producers have planned. Some are heartbroken, begging the show to keep Alice somehow. Others are already campaigning for Finley's return with fan art and edit videos that have thousands of likes. It's the kind of passion that keeps Days alive after all these decades. Because let's face it, child characters in soaps are tricky. They age up fast, they recast often, and when you get one who clicks like Alice did, you feel the loss when they go. But that's also what makes the show magical. It evolves. It surprises. It gives us new ways to fall in love with the same old faces and new ones. Personally, as someone who's analyzed every recast since the 80s, whether it was the multiple Jennifers or the parade of Filsing, putting my money on Finley Rose Slater stepping back into Rachel's pigtails. It just makes too much sense. The chemistry is already there. The history is baked in. And after Alice's masterful year of terrorizing Salem with a smile, Finley could bring the perfect blend of continuity and growth. But hey, that's just my take after years of living and breathing these characters. What about you? Do you think Finley's the one? Or are you hoping for a brand new face to shake things up? Maybe someone who can take Rachel in a completely different directionless killer instincts. More redemption arc. Drop your theories in the comments, share your favorite Alice moments, tell me how you felt watching that final episode. Because that's what we do here in Salem: we discuss, we debate, we obsess together.
Whoever ends up playing Rachel next, one thing is certain: the character isn't going anywhere. She's too central, too explosive, too damn entertaining. Brady and Kristen's daughter will keep stirring the pot, keep breaking hearts, keep making us tune in week after week. Alice Halsey gave us an incredible foundation, a year of sweet smiles hiding sharp edges of lovable cast error. And I, for one, cannot wait to see it unfold. Until then, let's keep the conversation going. Who do you think should be the new Rachel? Finley? Someone fresh?